Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Our bodies move to the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. But get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air getting thinner. Standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Flying into your home like a 1930s train wreck. From the brand new VNL 860 Studios. Creating a community of friends and topic-based discussions. This is JJDrones Live.
I'm Karl Marx and I approve this message.
And it's JJDrones Live. Welcome to the train wreck. Thank you everybody for coming in today. We've got TJ Giggles FPV. We've got Jenny and Steve from Stormy Sky Real Productions. We've got Dave from Gotta Love Thailand. We've got Christian from Mainlight Drone. We've got baby girl Haley Johnson in the chat. We've got my dad, Dave Johnson. Thank you everybody for coming in today. Appreciate you being here. If you'd like to have one of your videos featured on my website, email me, Jason at JJDrones360.com. And for everything JJ Drones related, go to JJDrones360.com. And if you're going to do some Amazon shopping, why don't you use my Amazon links? It's JJDrones360.com/Amazon1. It's easy to do, and you'll be helping the channel financially. And if you would like to submit one of your videos for Blinker Flu of the Week to Dan over at Droning Veteran, email him, droningveteran@gmail.com. And our Spreadshirt shop is now open. It's jjdrones.myspreadshop.com. You can get all of your JJ Drones gear, all of your Blinker Flu of the Week gear, and all of the Welcome to the Trainwreck gear, all proudly made and designed by our very own Haley Baby Johnson. Haley Baby Girl Johnson, I should say. And if you would like to donate to our charity, it is JJDrones360.com/donate. That's JJDrones360.com/donate. It's the Lee and Betty Johnson Memorial Charity, where we're going to be really pushing hard starting Memorial Day to get those donations done for Reese Across America and Mission 22. The one thing that I do want to address, and this is kind of a sad moment, and I did get permission from Chris over at Shade Tree America. His mom passed away about 2 weeks ago now, and they're having some issues trying to put together some money for the funeral expenses, and they've got some legal expenses too that they're trying to take care of. So I pinned their link in the chat. If you feel free to do so, you're not obligated to do so by any stretch of the imagination, but if you have the ability and you're willing to help donate, his Give Send Go Fund is pinned in the chat on YouTube. So if you're on Facebook and you want to have the link, I will definitely, or I think I shared it over there as well. So go ahead and go over there and just give him a donation, because he's got some really steep I guess you could say difficulties ahead. And he's trying to do all of this with the loss of his mother too, so that doesn't help. So go ahead and help out our friend Chris. He's a great guy, and hate to see him struggling. Hey, Robert Emanuelson, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you being here. And Paul, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you being here. And Tony, thank you for being here. And we're not going to have a couple of people. Hey, Mrs. Polanowski, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you being here. So today is going to be what Paul says. Let's see here. Today should be super funny. Yeah, because we're talking DJI stuff. But before we do that, let's bring up our co-host, because our other co-hosts are not able to make it. But let's bring in Brian from Cheesehead Media. So let's say hi to Brian, if I can get the right buttons pushed.
Hello.
And it looks... Oh, wow. And what's your cat's name?
Her name is Belle.
Okay, so that's Belle. So Belle is going to be taking over the place of Dan today.
Yes.
So we do have our regular sponsor of this part of the show. His name is Gary, and he's part of Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors. So it's time for Florida Man Tip of the Week.
Carl Marks. You're watching JJDrones on YouTube. Today we're going to talk a little bit about first aid and safety. This is paramount to a pleasurable trip, and perhaps could be very important to your survival. I hate to always talk about survival, like every time you're going to go camping or you're experiencing the outdoors, you're going to die or anything. That's truly not the case, but if something bad happens, you kind of want to be prepared. So this is a first aid kit, right? This is a really nice first aid kit. It can be obtained at Walmart for about $65 plus tax. You're probably looking at about $70. What I like about this, it's not cheap. It has a little bit of everything in there, but you still need more. And I'm going to show you an accessory kit you can make yourself. So then on the back, what I really like about this, after looking at it, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to have to point it out. Right where my finger is, there's 2 keyholes. And they're 6 1/4 inches apart from each other. So that's really cool. If you had an RV or you have some type of setup in your tent, what have you, that can be mounted. So 6 1/4 inches apart, keyhole, boom, you can just slide it right there, be readily available. This is also great for home use, office use, what have you. So you can just snap the thing open, you're good to go. So we're going to open this up, and I'm going to try and show you kind of what it looks like inside without totally dumping everything. What you have here is an isopropyl prep pad. I didn't put any insect repellent on me. Probably should have thought ahead and prepared. Key message of the day, always be prepared. But this is insect sting relief. Then there is antibiotic ointment. There seems to be about 5 of those. Antacid. Antacid, I don't know how many are in there. I don't know, a dozen or so. We have some packages of non-aspirin. All right. Then there's aspirin. Burn cream. This looks to be like some type of gauze. Quick and clean. They're like, I guess, like sanitary napkins, I'm assuming. Little scissors. Like medical tape, athletic type tape. These are tweezers. Various types and sizes of bandages are like medical gloves. It's your first aid preparedness guide. Your doctor's name, your allergies, what have you. There's some iPads in this kit. It's an instant cool compress. Sterile extra absorbent ABD pad 5 inches by 9 inches. So that's what's in this kit. Some of these other gauze pads, 4x4. Describe the triangular bandage, 40 inches by 56 inches. Tongue depressors, 4 of them. Kind of like your Q-tip type things. So this is a little orange bright ammo box that I got relatively cheap, $6-7, I believe. So I went and added a bunch of things back then. I'm going to give you an idea of some things you can add to this, your own homemade kit. I put some cheap ponchos in there. They're like, you can get some of these empty vials at Walmart. Like, I think there's 5 in a pack.
Okay.
The reason I have those empty vials is you could put different types of any liquid you feel that it's going to be an assistance, an aid to your displeasure or what have you. Many years ago, I did a project in conjunction with a local restaurant in Fort Myers. We sent a bunch of stuff to United States Marine Corps battalion, whatever you want to call it, probably about 40 of them. But we received thousands of these wet naps, fresh naps. And they can be used to clean your hands, your face, what have you. They could, be used as a bottom wipe if you're out in the middle of BFE. This is an older knife, nothing fancy. It's serrated a little bit. I probably need to clean that up a little bit. But some type of knife. I was younger. Athletic tape. Really good find right here. Nice. Ace bandage with 2 metal clips. You can do a lot with that. Ibuprofen. Petroleum jelly. This is not only good for different uses, rashes, what have you, but it's a good ignition source for a fire. This is Equate antibiotic cream. This is 50% isopropyl alcohol. You could have 2 of these vials. You always want to label your products, what have you. If you become unconscious, whatever, somebody's going to know what the resources are available. Hydrogen peroxide spray and Old Faithful toilet paper. These are tweezers. These are much better tweezers than was in the first aid kit that I showed you. But so that's kind of like some of the things that are encompassed in what you could use for first aid and survival. So maybe keep that big first aid kit at your campground, or maybe, I don't want to say use the word pilfer, so to speak, but purge a couple of each of those items. You can streamline it and put something in your backpack so you can be prepared. So and once again, you should probably notify people where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, if you have somewhat of an idea. And what we always say here on the channel is always know your legal limits.
Thank you, Gary, from Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors, our unofficial sponsor. It's all very, very good information. Brian?
Definitely. The one thing I would add, and there's also items you can get specific for your task. I mean, down where Gary is, I know there's more poisonous snakes than there are up here where you and I are, Jason. So maybe have a snake bite kit in there. I do a lot of competitive pistol shooting, and our kit that we have at the range has feminine hygiene products in it because they're designed to absorb blood and they can be stuck in a hole.
And what about bourbon? That wasn't mentioned.
That's a totally different use, but yeah. I think that'd be more going back to the Civil War when you need to amputate something.
Right.
And hopefully we don't ever have to get to that, but... Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that we need to drink, I think it's time that we bring out our saltwater flavored blinker fluid of the week. And remember, folks, it's our blinker fluid of the week. And I just want to thank Dan, the droning veteran, for putting this together. It is the best series on YouTube. And we're going to put in our votes after, so pay attention to the numbers as the videos come through. Week 13. And here is number 1. Now this is Dan driving out there in Utah. And I think you can pretty much tell what's going to happen, or can you? Yep, that happens to him all the time. People passing in that center lane.
That was past the center line. That was on the other side of a double.
Yeah. He really needed to make that right-hand turn, though, Brian.
Right.
And number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like it's raining there, Brian.
It was raining. Just watch the car in front of me and where it decides the lane is.
Oh, you mean that apron isn't to drive on?
Apparently not. Literally, all four-wheel.
Now, the apron is designed to take a semi-trailer, but not usually cars. Now, this guy here with Christian, you have the patience of a saint.
I don't know. I mean, he's in Chicago.
I mean, that bus was really, really lacking some blinker fluid.
Yeah.
And manners. So this one's from Chris at Shade Tree America. We got a school bus in front of us. Lights are flashing red. And that Jeep just went right on by.
Yeah, Dan and I talked about this one. I talked about it after we're live here.
And here's number 5. Pay attention to the left hood mirror. Well, somebody decided to make a left-hand turn with him. So when he's making his left-hand turn, there's a ram that's making a left-hand turn at the same time as him into that center lane. And number 6.
Bonus.
And that light was definitely purple, not red. It was purple.
Yeah.
So that is our blinker fluid of the week, everybody. I'm going to put it up in the poll in the chat. And you can vote 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the poll. Christian said, I did flash my lights at him. Yeah, I definitely saw that in there. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in. He's at the golf course in his neighborhood. So you got 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you want to vote 5 or 6, it's hashtag 6 or tic-tac-toe 6 or number sign 6. What else could we call it?
Pound symbol.
There you go, pound symbol 6. Or 5.
So Dan and I were chatting about this because I did catch up and send him some more videos. And the whole bus thing... Back to that video. The bus is in a curve, a little gradual one, and the oncoming Jeep was driving into the sun. So
Okay.
I can see how it happened. I'm not forgiving it by any means, but that's one that I'm looking at and like I can honestly see how that can happen.
Well, and you're much more forgiving than Dan is.
That said, if I was a cop, I would have given them as many tickets as I possibly could.
Oh yeah.
It just there's sometimes some of these are you can see how things can happen. I mean, and I'm not gonna. I'll say right out, it happened to me once. I was driving down a local road, and this woman is on my side of the road, waving her arms, jumping up and down. I'm going to say I was slightly distracted trying to watch her, and I did not see the school bus that was picking up kids on the other side.
Wow.
Now, I should have been paying better attention. I'll openly admit that. But I can see how stuff like that happens.
So, Brian or Haley, if you could watch the chat and watch for anybody that votes for 5 or 6. It looks like we've got Mom voting number 6. And then at the end of the program, we will tally up all of the votes. And we will see who the winner of this week's saltwater blinker fluid of the week. Because Dan isn't here with us today. He says he's busy. But I think he's just mourning the loss of his DJI Avata after a tragic accident yesterday.
Is it saltwater or is it saltwater taffy flavored?
Oh, we can do saltwater taffy. I like saltwater taffy better. Yeah, let's go with that. So what we're talking about today, and this is not it, okay? This is the DJI Ronin Mini 3. But we're here to talk about the DJI Ronin 4 Pro and the 4 or the DJI Ronin the Ronin 4. Or is it the 4S?
Just a 4, if I understood it right.
Okay. So the reason that I'm bringing it up is because number one, Brian, there was a little bit of something that occurred that doesn't happen very often, and that was that DJI released the Ronin series first, and then the very next week they released the Avata 2.
It was the same week. One was the Ronin was on Tuesday, and the Avata was on Thursday.
Oh, it was the same week. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And even odder still is that they announced the announcement for the Avata first, and then 2 days later they announced the announcement for the Ronin.
Okay.
So yeah, wrap your head around that one.
So it is the RS. It's the RS4 Pro and the RS4. Just so that we're accurate here in our information, because, you know, I love to be accurate on everything.
I think the R stands for Ronin. I mean, if you look at now, they're not calling it the Ronin anymore. They're just calling it the R and the RS. Or the
okay.
RS4 and RS4 Pro.
Gotcha. So
it's kind of like when they got rid of the Mavic name for everything.
So the reason why I wanted to show everybody this fine little piece of equipment here, this is the Ronin Mini 3. And it's very similar to the Mini 4. Or not the Mini 4. They didn't even make a Mini 4. They just have the 4 and the 4 Pro. And what this is, it's a gimbal that you can put your camera right here. And I've used the Sony ZV-E10. And this one doesn't have nearly the weight capacity of the 4 Pro or the 4, but it does have the capacity to hold the camera that I use. And then you've got all these little locking mechanisms here that you can unlock. And after you balance it, obviously the camera is going to function a lot easier. And I did do a live stream, a vertical live, that I'm not very proud of because I was basically just trying it out. And I basically went through all of the ways that you can balance this and use this gimbal. And I've actually been using this gimbal now quite a bit. I've been practicing with it a lot more because I want to get proficient with it. So eventually one day in the future, when I actually grow up and be a real photographer like Brian, I can actually go out there and get something like the Mini or the 4 Pro or the 4. Now, the 4 Pro is going to be something that big-time cinematographers are going to use, that kind of a gimbal, because it just gives you so many options, and it does have the ability to hold a much heavier camera. In fact, let's go through some of the stats here, and let me bring this up. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so here is the stats on all three. Now, the one on the very far right, that's the Mini 3. That's what I have. On the 4 Pro, it'll hold a payload of 10 pounds. The 4 will hold a payload of 6.6 pounds, and the one that I have will hold 4.4 pounds. So there's quite a bit of difference as far as your weight goes on each gimbal. The gimbals are going to have the second generation automatic axis locks. Now, what that's going to do for you is that's actually going to give you the ability to just press one button and it's going to lock every single one of these axes. Now, when I do it on the Mini 3, I have to go and individually lock and unlock each one of these axes. And it's kind of a pain in the rear end. And I really wish that DJI probably should have included it in this one. And if they do release a Mini 4, I hope that they release it with that option on here. Because, I mean, I would find that extremely, extremely handy.
And so this is what the way I look at it, Jason. One, I'm very surprised if they released the 4 and the 4 Pro that they did not else release a 4 Mini.
Right.
I believe that they released all 3 versions of the 3 at the same time. Your chart didn't show the differences between the 3 and the 4, but there is a bit of an upgrade to it. The camera weight is about the same, but they've added a joystick mode to the 4. They've added true vertical shooting to the 4. They've improved the algorithm. Instead of just being, now it's a Teflon coated aluminum. Not that that really means anything, but it's pretty much the 3 improve.
Now,
really, the 3 mini that you're using is just really a smaller version of that.
now let's go into. Now you're more of a serious photographer than I am. This zoom gimbal control using the joystick. Okay, on the RS4 and on the RS4 Pro. Okay, in order to use that zoom with the gimbal, you actually have to have a separate motor to run the zoom. On the gimbal, on the Mini 3, it doesn't have that ability because there's no motor that you can actually attach to the Mini 3 in order to get that zoom control, or not the zoom, but the focus control. But I do have the ability on this one, and right up here in the front, you can see this little dial here with the red line on top. This is the zoom dial, okay? So you do have the ability to actually zoom in your shot using this gimbal just via Bluetooth. And you can do that with the RS4, but if you're going to use the focus, you have to have that separate motor. Now, from what I have learned from what I've seen about it, is DJI actually upgraded the rod that goes into the focus motor so that you can actually use that for better cinematic lenses.
Right, and that would be really, when you're looking at the full-size 4, that's much closer to like my 7D Mark II that you see me pick up every now and then.
Yeah, grab that if you can.
That's for this guy.
Yeah, so if you have something like that, you need that rod so that, because what happens is it's basically what do you call it, a glorified rubber band?
Yeah, probably a good description of it.
It's a glorified rubber band that has teeth on it that goes into the sprockets on the focus motor. And what you can do with the RS4 that you and you can do it with the RS4 Pro, is that you can use the joystick, and it's going to turn like Brian's doing on his camera right now. It's going to turn that focus with that glorified rubber band. So you don't have to actually go up there and do that manually on the camera. Now, go ahead, Brian.
So, on this particular lens, the rear is my zoom. The top here is the focus ring. So, and I think on the Mini, what it is, or the reason why you don't have some of that capability is, one, you don't have the lenses for it. It's made for cameras that you really don't interchange the lenses on much. You want to use, there are some that are out there, but a lot of it are for like I want to say a Canon G7, in which the lens is built in. You can control the zoom and everything via Bluetooth through an app. And that's where like your 4 and the 4 Pro start coming in, is that the 4 allows you to do it a little bit more through the app. And then like your 4 Pro, they actually have, it connects to the Ronin. It's a set of focus wheels. It's a set of zoom wheels. So you could actually sit there and you have one person literally controlling the shot, making sure that it's square and following the rule of thirds. And then the second person is actually pulling focus and adjusting zoom and everything at the same time through a second video display. I mean,
Now, it's interesting that you bring that up, because DJI thought about that as far as focus goes, and what they came up with is probably the best LiDAR focus system on the market today. And what you're able to do with this, and from everything that I've seen on this LiDAR system, this is absolutely amazing. And Brian, you can tell me if I'm wrong, if there's, something better out there. But what this will actually do is, as you're using the focus, this is going to adjust the, it's as you're using the zoom, this is going to adjust your focus and any sort of lighting or anything, and it'll actually use your camera as an active tracking device as well. So, and it doesn't, it's no slouch, okay? Because this thing will go 20 meters from the person, and it has a 70 degree field of view. So this thing is pretty amazing.
Oh, it is, and it is great technology. What I would say the difference is that this would be for maybe your budding videographer, someone that's a step ahead of, probably you and me, that is actually doing videos one-off. But then when you start looking at the second accessories and everything, where you actually manually pull focus and manually pull zoom, that's for Hollywood, that style of production. So they are making this in multiple steps. You have the Mini, which is just a great camera gimbal, and it gives you some features. In fact, you just saw some of the focus pulling there in the display. Yeah, and it steps up, a little bit each time. You have then the manual. If you're doing local commercial work, and you're working with say a car dealer, and you need to pull focus as he's pointing out different models of cars.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 is perfect for that, especially with this LiDAR system. If you are now making a feature film and you have the budget for 2 camera people, you're probably going to be looking at that 4 Pro and some of the accessories with it.
Now, can I ask you a question? If you look on the screen there, when it shows where, they're pulling focus, and they have all of the numbers written down on that little tablet there. Is that something that you would do?
It's usually done by a tape measure when people do that. So, yeah. And that tells you kind of, I believe that's how far away you are. It's been a long time since I've taken a videography class.
Okay.
So
I just figured I would ask, seeing as how I was unsure about that. Now, the 4 also gives the operator, or the 4 Pro gives the operator that separate display. And here is the person holding that separate display right there.
Yeah, so they got the separate display. If you notice, their hand then is on that focus wheel right there. So they are manually controlling that. So this is when, again, in this instance is perfect for it too. You have a car moving, probably they're riding in the back of another vehicle. So you need one person to be just literally spending their whole time trying to keep the camera in shot, while the second person works on pulling focus and everything that they need to. So it's going to depend upon the type of job that you're doing with it. It's I think the only reason why I would probably get the 4 instead of a 4 Mini, that granted it's not out yet. If I bought one, I'd probably get the 3 Mini right now. The only reason why I get the 4 is just because of how much weight it can hold.
Yes.
That is a big thing for me because of what I shoot with. But other than that, feature wise, I really don't need all that.
Right. Now, obviously the price is going to be a huge deal.
Use this little guy.
Okay, so this is the focus motor that we were talking about. Here's the little, teeth on there that band wraps around, and then it goes around the focus part of your camera. Now, here are some of the cameras that, look at the lens on that. That isn't anywhere near what kind of camera lenses I use. and that's even longer than Brian's lens there. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways that the 4 is just the superior item, but if you look at the image stabilization just in this video with this Porsche that's going down the highway, I mean, that stabilization right there is absolutely stunning. And that's all just coming out of the gimbal. And that's where DJI actually comes in and really, steals the show. Now, the 4 is going to start at $999, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. That's just for the
That's for the accessories.
That's just for the accessories, okay? So, and you can't even get the all-in-one combo because it's completely out of stock. Now, this does give you an option for a battery grip, which is going to give you an additional, this one here is only 12 hours, but they have an additional battery grip that you can get for the 4 or the 4 Pro that'll give you about 29 hours of shooting time. And if you need something for 29 hours, I mean, man, you're really working. But let's just go here and then go to Ronin, and then this one should be the 4 Pro. So the 4 Pro by itself is $869. If you want to get the combo with the 4 Pro is $1,099, and you're going to get a lot of things with this. Now you're going to get, like I said, here is the battery grip that gives you 29 hours of use time on this camera. It also gives you the opportunity to get the DJI twist grip dual handle. And what that is right here, what you can see this guy holding in the screen here, where you can hold the camera with both hands. And on the top of those grips there's actually a cold shoe mount so that you could attach a screen like that, Brian, and that would give you more access to see better what you're filming at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll go down here and show you what's in the box. You get the gimbal, the regular battery grip, and then you have the quick release plate. There's a couple of from one of the reviewers I saw, there were a couple quick release plates. Okay, there are. I just didn't scroll down enough. There's one right here. There's one right here. Oh, no, that's the image transmitter.
We're only seeing the
Okay.
We're still seeing the Focus Pro kit. We're not seeing anything else, Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the right here. You can see the guy now with the dual handle grip, Brian.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what this is right here. Now you get a couple of camera mounts for the gimbal. You get a quick release plate here, and then you've got another quick release plate here, a quick release plate here. Now, if you're into something with vertical video, they made it super simple on the 4 and the 4 Pro to basically make vertical video a thing on your gimbal. And I know this is not a fan of Brian's, but for people like, well, not me, in order to do vertical video with this, that's so true, Brian. In order to do vertical video with this, you actually have to have an adapter, and you have to pull this off and put the adapter on, balance everything out. But with the 4 and the 4 Pro, this will actually just unclick, and then it'll turn with the camera still mounted on this, and then it clicks into place, and then you just spin the knob, and then you've got vertical video right there without much effort whatsoever. So it's really handy what they're doing with the technology with these things.
Oh, definitely. No, I mean, and so many productions now, if you notice, are doing the handheld video look.
Yes.
Even to the point where I'd say you can adjust the stabilization down a little bit so it doesn't rock steady. A couple TV shows that come to mind, or one that comes to mind right now is The Rookie.
Okay.
When they do that, it looks like a body cam. It's really not. It's actually a device like this, for holding it. So it's kind of interesting if you ever watch. It's kind of funny. I actually watch more of the behind the scenes stuff than I do the actual shows.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm kind of a dork that way.
Now you see when you make an adjustment on this gimbal, on the 3, you just have that one locking device, and then you have to move it up and down. So, but on the 4 and the 4S, they have this same locking device, but then they also have a adjustment knob right next to it. So if you need to do just small corrections, let's say you're out of balance, not even an ounce one way or the other, you can just turn that knob and make that small correction, and then it will be a lot easier on you. So again, if you're going to make a Mini 4, please give us these things, because this Mini 3 is perfect for somebody like me that uses this for video vlogging. I mean, I'm not going to do any sort of commercials or anything like that with this, but for doing video vlogs like I do, this is a perfect setup for me. And thank you, Brian, for introducing me to this little piece of heaven that has been giving me headaches for weeks now.
And let's look at the price difference now. I mean, that little device is $369.
Yes.
We mentioned that the new 4, that's $550, and the 4 Pro is $870. So it's as you get bigger and you go in size, it's obviously gives you more features for more of a cost. But you're right, absolutely correct that little 3 Mini is absolutely perfect for you. And if Canon ever decides to update either one of the 2 cameras I'm looking at, I'm probably going to pick one up.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm kind of locked. Not that I don't want to buy. Not that I don't like Sony. I have nothing against them. I probably will. But I mean, I'm already dedicated to the Canon RS mount, and for me to switch to another platform is.
Well, I mean, buying the camera, the body of the camera is the easy part.
Yes.
It's the lenses that kill you.
Yeah. Anyone who knows anything about Canon knows what that little red ring means. That's just dollar signs.
Right.
That's my heart bleeding every time I buy one.
Now on the RS Pro, you get detachable battery. Max battery runtime is 29 hours, and that's if you get the the upgraded battery clip. Same thing with the RS4, only that one is 29 and a half hours. Now you have to remember the RS4 Pro and the RS4 are both going to be using different weight cameras, and the RS4 versus the RS4 Pro, go back one screen here, the design of that gimbal is completely different, because that gimbal actually gives you a carbon fiber body versus the RS4, which is an aluminum alloy body. Sorry. And again, the Mini 3 also is aluminum alloy. And they say that the Mini 3 will go 10 hours, but I can tell you right now that I've run that thing for 3 to 4 hours in a day, and it didn't even use up half the battery. So, I mean, this thing is just phenomenal as far as battery usage goes. But I think that the difference in battery uses, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Brian, is, and I probably am, is probably the way that it's designed as far as the type of material they made to use it, the amount of power that has to go into each and every one of those motors that are on that gimbal, and just basically the usage that you get out of both of them.
Well, I think you're kind of getting there, Jason, but really what it comes down to is, one, how heavy is the camera that's on it? Obviously, if you're pushing that, 4-pound, 4.5-pound mark, it's going to use a lot more battery than what a 2-pound camera does. If you are walking around and that gimbal is constantly fighting to stay stable, it's going to be using more battery than when you have it in tripod mode sitting on the desk there in the studio.
Right.
So, it's the same as, our drone. 20-mile-an-hour wind is going to suck the battery out a lot more than a 10-mile-an-hour wind will.
Right. So, if you guys are interested in a camera gimbal, if you have a mirrorless camera, I think this would even work for a DSLR camera. Definitely something with Bluetooth, because the Bluetooth that this connects to your camera just makes it really easy when you're going through the zooming using just this knob here. And then on this side here, you've got the LED screen and all of the buttons here to operate your record and whatnot on your camera. So this is really nice for just a YouTuber that isn't doing anything super serious with it. But if you want to step up your game and you want to go with the 4, you have to also know that this is, what's the weight on this one? This one is, I know I got that information. Okay, so I don't have the weight on this one, but this one here I think is about 3 pounds. And then the 4, I believe, is about 5 pounds. And I think the 4 Pro is around 6 pounds. You can look that up and check for sure, but the numbers are right around in there. So
now, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, the thing that you need to realize is that when you're walking around, you also have to take into consideration the fact that you're also putting the weight of the camera on here and the lenses and any other attachments. So your arm can get really heavy, or your arm can get really tired after, holding around this heavy gimbal for a little while.
And this also depends upon how dedicated you are to it. Let me throw out another option. If people are just starting into this and they are, hey, will a gimbal actually work for what I need it to? There it is. Let's share. Is that here is the Osmo Mobile.
Yeah.
And it's designed to hold your cell phone. So if you're not using a dedicated camera or a second camera, this is another really great option for you. And it's the exact same thing that we were talking about, except it's just using your phone as the inside, instead of a camera, it's using your phone inside the gimbal.
And I actually have 2 of those.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them too. I had a 2 and I had a 3. I don't think I ever got a 4, or did I?
And I can tell you right now that the active track on that works better than that thing that I got off of Amazon. It works a heck of a lot better.
So there's options out there. Another option for a lot of people, and if you're really, again, if you want something that, if you don't want to dedicate your phone, which I hate doing because I'm using my phone so much, and you want like a little portable camera with a gimbal, the Osmo Pocket is a great little device. And I'll tell you, handheld, it's discreet, it'll sit in your pocket, and it does everything.
I'll tell you right now, Brian, not only have I seen YouTubers use that, but I was interviewed for a news station down in Milwaukee during 2020, and the camera that she used was that Osmo.
Sure.
Wasn't exactly that Osmo, because that obviously is a newer model, but she used the older model Osmo for the interview. Yeah, that one right there. Yep.
Yeah, this is a Gen 1. The Gen 2 is very similar to it, but yeah.
So, I mean, if news stations are willing to use the Osmo for their footage at Spectrum News down there in Milwaukee, I'm sure it's pretty good quality enough for your YouTube videos.
Well, I mean, what most people don't realize is that your broadcast standard is still only 1280p.
Right.
It's not even, high def. This thing's recording in 4K. So, you can downsample it. You can do a digital zoom with it. There's a lot of options available to them.
Hey, David.
For what you're doing, and you have that, that Sony camera.
Yeah.
You made the right choice for you, but there's a lot of choices for a lot of people depending upon where they're going with this.
Right. If you don't have a mirrorless camera, if you don't have a DSLR, and you just want to do something with your phone, but you still want to have that smoothness of a gimbal. Now, the phones already do include some sort of smoothness, and GoPros, if you just want to use a GoPro, you're going to get smooth footage regardless of what you do. But if you want to use your phone and you want to have more smooth footage, get yourself one of the Osmo gimbals, or just get yourself an Osmo.
Yeah. You won't go wrong either way. The downside is that if you're holding your camera by hand and you're only relying on the smoothness of what's built into the camera, that software based stuff, or with a GoPro, is that it still can get kind of jerky. If you move a lot real fast, it doesn't give you that butter smooth effect. So my biggest thing is I don't want to dedicate my phone to the footage, because using my phone, I have to remember to put it into airplane mode, and then if I don't remember to do that, and I got phone calls coming in and text messages coming in and everything else while I'm 10 feet away from the phone, and I just got done shooting a whole bunch of stuff on it, then I have to go back and edit all that stuff out, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a pain in the rear end. So to not dedicate your phone to your filming is actually helpful for me. But if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not knocking anybody that does it that way. No, and that is exactly the reason why I bought the DJI Mini 3 Pro when that came out. Was that came out with that RC2 controller with a built-in screen. And that to me was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because I've had that exact option. I'm trying to fly, and all of a sudden I'm getting notifications popping up on my phone. But yet if I turned it into off completely, I lost Bluetooth and everything. If I put it in airplane mode, it actually would quit working on my original Mavic. So yeah, it for me, avoiding the phone as much as possible is always a good thing.
Okay, so we're getting to the end of the program, Brian, but before we leave and before we get to the results of our blinker fluid of the week videos, we do have a quick announcement as far as DJI firmware updates. So you want to go into that real quick?
Yeah, so besides all this fun stuff that came out on Thursday, DJI did come out with new firmware updates. It allows the new version of the goggles that's coming out with the Avata 2 to be able to be used. Anything that uses OM4, so it'd be the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3. But the other thing that kind of appeared in the firmware is DJI asking permission to consistently share flight logs. And that was ever there before. It's a new toggle switch. And if and this may be one of their ways of appeasing some of the government stuff that's going out there, saying, hey, if you turn this off, we're not getting any data. Now, in my opinion, that switch should be off by default, and you should opt in, not an opt out. But that goes with almost any IT data collection. It should always be opt in, not opt out. But that's neither here nor there.
Right. And the biggest thing with that entire situation, Hang on just 1 second. All right. So all right, sorry about that. Now, with sharing your information to DJI, you're only going to be sharing your flight logs. You're not going to be sharing anything crazy. Okay. And Brian. Okay. So Brian wants me to go full screen. All right. So before we go and before we get to the Blinker Fluid of the Week segment, or not the segment, but the results, there is one thing that I need to share with my dad from Paul over there at Paul, from Paul Colthorpe. He sent this to me the other day, and he actually smuggled he smuggled something into Denny's. So let's just, let's watch.
It's not on.
Oops. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I forgot to, I forgot to hit the share image. All right. So Paul smuggled something into Denny's. Here we go.
All right. We have a special guest star over here at, Denny's, right? Texas-made Denny's, cheap again. Get the juice. Hurry. We don't want to get in trouble. Ooh, she's coming. Here, put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. Hurry. We might get in trouble for this. We don't know. Here, I'm gonna pretend to eat over here. Okay, she's gone. Here, get the juice. Hurry. All right, this is a special thing. This is the Johnson juice. Right? Okay, so we're gonna do our first test here. Okay, so here, hold on. Honey, hold this. All right, we're gonna cut a square. Cut a square out. Cut the square here.
I really hope I don't get the copyright for the music.
Just in case the Johnson juice is...
I can't believe he's not spreading the butter out on those pancakes.
Right? For a minute there, I thought I lost internet.
No, we just lost Paul.
We lost Paul.
Well, anyhow, I think we can all figure out what's going on here. You brought in the homemade
He did.
maple syrup.
He did. And I will get that down. I will get that uploaded and put on the StreamYard for next week, guys. It is really funny towards the end. I don't know why it just stopped playing for no reason. Brian, was there something you wanted to show everybody?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that's why you wanted me to go full screen.
Oh, no. No. I forgot that I can make that. I could change that setting too.
Okay.
Hey, there's buttons down here that I can click on, and do things like this.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't want that.
And that is really good maple syrup, dear Corner. Let me tell you. All right, so we have got Haley in the chat. Haley, how many votes do you have for 5 and 6? Because I think all I see is number 1. Or I only see 1 for 6. And Christian,
2.
Oh, you saw 2 for 6?
Unless your dad is voting twice, once for him and once for mom.
Okay.
I don't know.
So let's see here. We've got Christian said 1 for number 5 from Haley and 1 for number 6. So let me go to the poll and see what we have there. Oh, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
Can you share this with us?
Yes. And the winner of this week's Blinker Fluid of the Week is... number 1. Yeah, thank you for saltwater taffy, because that was a lot better than the salt water I was drinking earlier. But so I hope that you guys got a pretty decent amount of information, whether that be from our channel unofficial sponsor with staying safe out there, or about the new gimbals that are provided by DJI. We're not telling you to buy one thing or another because we don't really have any hands-on experience with what DJI has put out there. What we're saying is there are options out there if you want to put your videos up to the next level. And it's not going to be cheap, but you know, if you really want to try and step up your game, sometimes you do have to put a little bit of money out there for it. So basically up to you, but that's the information that we have on it. Brian, any last words for everybody today?
No, I just looking at the weather forecast this week. There's definitely going to be a storming across the majority of the U.S. So everyone be, literally from the East Coast or West Coast to the East Coast. So just everyone be weather aware is the best thing to say.
Yes, and Christian, Dan had something going on tonight. He said he was too busy to be able to make it into the show tonight. So hopefully he'll be able to join us again next week. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, I've got Monday, the Avata will be showing up at my house. So look forward to an unboxing video and a first flight and a comparison with the Avata 1. I also have 2 different lights that I need to do a review on from Carson. I have RV to pick up from Camping World, and I need to go do a review on all the repairs and the maintenance they did on the RV. And I think that is it. I feel like I'm missing something, though.
Well, we were talking to Dan May. I think he chickened out just because he was crying about the crash he had yesterday with his Avata.
He had a bad crash with his Avata, and he wasn't sure whether or not he was going to be able to get it fixed. So we do think that he's still crying in his beer over that.
Although, I don't understand why, because the Avata 2 came out, and I know he was kind of interested in that. So this may have been the perfect excuse for him to upgrade.
And I did hunting and stuff. I did get my truck back. We're sitting in the Volvo 860 studios right now. In fact, I did a short yesterday on an oil stain that I got out with some bull snot. And bull snot, if you'd like to sponsor a channel, right here. Just saying. But
Hashtag bull snot.
Hashtag bull snot. All right, guys. Well, just be safe. Like Brian said, there's going to be a lot of storms going through the U.S. from the West Coast to the East Coast. And we just want everybody to be weather aware. If you really want to know a great channel to watch as far as keeping yourself safe through all of these storms that we're going to be going through, go to Ryan Hall Y'all on YouTube and check him out, because he's probably one of the best weather forecasters out there, and you'll actually be able to get real-time information as these storms roll through. Christian, it was number 1 was the winner. But I appreciate all of you for coming along for this ride with us, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye, everybody. If I can get...